Peter's father sat at the foot of the chapel's altar with the headman Victor at his side. Victor is the administrator of justice in the village. Sort of a smaller version of Felix the bailiff. He was a stout man of middle age whose hands had the calluses of someone who used to work with his hands years ago. Peasants filled the pews, and others lined up to speak their grievances. Dr. Ordolf sat adjacent with a quill and parchment. As the villagers spoke, the doctor took careful notes to take to Count Anglin. Peter wondered how she was writing if she was blind, but maybe he shouldn't ask. But most peasants spoke of a bandit raid who attacked the week before, or a land dispute that led to a murder. "We hanged 3 of the bandits last month, my lord," Victor said proudly. "One tried to bribe meself and then the hangman. We hanged him first." Later, Peter heard. "The Albikes were in legal right to that mile of land, my lord. But instead of waiting for me to process the complaint and assemble the necessary lawmen, Adam Albike and his 2 sons unburdened Johannes Velhines of his head. Needless to say, we gifted the remaining Velhines that disputed mile of land." Peasant justice was so crude, Peter couldn't help but think. He watched the crowd. Most of them had never seen a highborn lord like his father. He and Peter purposefully dressed more modestly. The Lord Steward had on a simple blue jerkin and plain linen shirt. His cloak was wool and thrown back over his shoulders. Even then, he was still the best-dressed man in the room by far. Some got out of line, too afraid to speak to him. After what had to be an hour, Peter felt like he was dying of boredom. Peter whispered to Dr. Ordolf, "Do you have anything to get us out of here, Doctor?" The doctor smirked and watched the peasants beg and plead with the Lord Steward. Or at least she looked like she was watching them. "My lord, I am trained in arts men may describe as unnatural. Certain powders made from ground flowers that grew on a battlefield can be used to cloud your presence. The bones of saints, blessed at the foot of a mountain or mouth of a river, can grant temporary feats of strength." Dr. Ordolf turned, and that warm smile gave way to an air of mischievousness. Was she telling the truth? Peter thought about Sir Daniel's apprehension towards her, about that blast of fire that lit the room up several nights ago. There were rumors that circulated about her. She had to have known about them. Was she just having a go at him? Peter leaned forward. "And where would one learn such things, Doctor?" Ordolf shrugged and kept wearing that smile. "Oh, here and there. Madmen and mystics, universities with undergrounds, cathedrals with ancient covens, any place a curious woman may walk." That had to be a joke. Peter watched her face. Was that smile amusement at her little joke? Or was it a knowing grin? Very funny, Doctor. He was hoping to goad Ordolf into revealing the truth, but the doctor didn't call his bluff. She merely scribbled into her ledger as the peasant spoke to the Lord Steward. "Is there a particular saint that works better than others?" Ordolf smiled and kept her eyes on her ledger. Or at least in the ledger's direction. How was she writing that well? A saint is a saint, as it would appear. Peter's father was finished and the crowd was dismissed. They were a bit unruly. Peter wondered where the other guards were. It seemed his party was missing 3 or 4. They left through the front door. "Peter, stay close." Peter glanced around. It was loud, but that was normal for this time of day. But Peter realized why his father had said that. Brother Ullman had moved to the city square. His crowd was much larger than the guy before. He was much louder, much more clear. Many faces were looking at the Ravenschild party. Butchers, farmers, yeomen, blacksmiths. "We are all equal under God," Brother Ullman shouted. "Your fathers and fathers' fathers killed for the Lord who won. That does not make you our betters." A rotten beat struck Pax on the shoulder. He growled and went for his sword. A gleaming cross made from fire rose higher and higher. Peter clutched his charcoal and his breath returned. The horse was not on fire, but rather running through fire. The birds darted and swooped upon the angry horse. The cross ordered the fire to grow hotter. A radish exploded on the wall by Peter's face, the pink juice splattering his face like blood. Call it off, Peter's father ordered Paxton. Tell your men to pull back. My lord. Pax reared his horse and made the call. He rose a handkerchief like a flag. Peter felt himself pulled up, and he found himself on a horse. He was behind Marcus, or Mark, whatever his name was. Peter saw 2 knights and 2 house guards circle around Brother Ullman. One of them perked their heads up at Pax. He turned and waved at the others, ordering them to retreat. Through the crowd, Peter saw waves of metal turning around and coming back. Were they about to arrest the friar? Was that why they were here? They plowed through the crowd, heading towards the road, but the peasants took this as an attack. Someone tried to pull Peter off his horse. Sir Marcus jabbed at them with his spear butt and kept forward. Brother Ullman shouted something and the crowd got rowdier. The crowd roared and one of the house guards disappeared. Peter looked at the cross around the friar's neck. It clicked. Sir Belbiel drew his sword and charged. He was the horse. His battle cry mixed in with his horse neighing. The fire was the crowd. The birds, what could those be? Peter pulled Sir Marcus's shield and winged it at the horse. It sailed and banged on the horse's legs. It neighed in pain and staggered to gain its balance. The knight atop fell forward into the crowd. The yeoman led a storm of arrows toward the horse and the knight knew it. Peter called for him, but Sir Marcus was already at the edge of town. They passed the gate, and Peter was trying to keep himself from sobbing. He tried to save Sir Belbiel. Was he the death he foresaw? If he had not acted, would the knight still be alive? Would those arrows have just missed him? Peter, are you hurt? His father rode up. No, Sir Marsh, you will be rewarded. You have acted in my service in a way I cannot repay. My lord, I am honored. I would only like to have a shield. Your boy, the young lord, threw it, I suppose to fend off an attacker. Brave lad he is. I will give you a shield and much more. Peter, more than likely, saved Sir Belbiel. Peter perked his head up. Sir Stephen rode up on his valiant silver warhorse. Behind him was Sir Belbiel, eyes puffy and a frown on his face. A broken arrow shaft poked from his thigh. That night in the hall, Peter was honored with saving Sir Belbiel. The slayer himself toasted him and followed by the entire hall. Brita smiled from the kitchen doorway. Belbiel was hailed as well. He was deeply saddened that his friend Max was killed by the crowd. He wept that such a brave man like him should have died in battle, not of rioting peasants. He would be avenged. That a radical and blaspheming priest would meet his bloody and violent end. Knights in the hall toasted him and chanted his name.